next one. Isn't this fabulous? Thank you all for being here. My colleagues and I are very pleased today to be announcing the reintroduction of the Stronger Patents Act, which will strengthen our patent system and help ensure the United States continues to lead the world with a patent system that is the global gold standard. I am grateful to my co-sponsors in the Senate, Senators Cotton, Hirono, Durbin, Kennedy, and Kramer. Some of you may know that there's a little bit of partisan division in the Senate these days. That is a list of co-sponsors that is about as broad a range of political and ideological background as I think I've ever been blessed to have alongside me as co-sponsors. I am also deeply grateful to Congressman Stivers and Foster for their leadership on this bill in the House. The House version, the Senate version, I think are strong steps forward, and this bipartisan group of co-sponsors who reflect the wide array of supporters of the bill who are also with us, who range from small individual inventors to globally leading technology companies to preeminent universities to property rights advocates. So we all agree that a strong and reliable patent system, that strong and reliable patent rights are the very lifeblood of our innovation economy and a key driver to our sustained national success. Over the course of the past several years, we have witnessed a tragic erosion of these patent rights, along with America's long-deserved reputation as the gold standard for patent protection. This not only weakens our economy, it has serious consequences for our national security. In May, here in the Senate, we had a Judiciary Committee hearing focused on China's ambition to control critical technologies like 5G, as well as quantum computing, artificial intelligence. Our laws must ensure that our country's most innovative companies can continue to lead in exactly the research, development, and commercialization of these technologies and others that are critical to our future, which is why we have to promote and protect the efforts of all American innovators, whether solo garage inventors or high-tech, diversified global research companies, so that they can develop the next generation of cutting-edge technologies that will shape lives around the globe and continue to extend American leadership into this century. Their focus should be on innovation, not on defending themselves from abusive serial challenges to their patents at the PTAB. We also hear alarming stories from small businesses and solo inventors who face difficult hurdles in securing and advancing their patent rights. Something is fundamentally wrong with a system that encourages patent infringers to avoid or delay negotiating with rights holders in good faith, and instead that promotes costly litigation. So the Stronger Patents Act would restore the ability to get an injunction and as a result incentivize these negotiations. Stronger patents would also prevent abuses of the PTAB system through serial review. The America Invents Act was designed to provide an efficient and affordable opportunity for the United States Patent and Trademark Office to have a second look at patent claims, not third, fourth, fifth, or sixth looks at patent claims, and our bill would prevent these and other abusive and repetitive attacks. It would also discourage opportunistic challenges meant only to manipulate stock prices or to leverage settlements. Earlier this year, we had the pleasure of hearing from PTO Director Yanku about his success in implementing vital and necessary administrative reforms at USPTO. He has done a remarkable job, and I'm grateful. Some of the reforms that were in previous versions of this bill have now been implemented. These changes have made a great contribution to American patent law. I believe we should now take up and pass the Stronger Patents Act to codify some of these changes and to secure them, and to take additional steps that will require congressional action. I'm also pleased to announce that Senator Tillis, who's chairman of the IP subcommittee in the Senate, has agreed to hold a hearing on Stronger in the IP subcommittee later this year, which will be open to all viewpoints on these important issues. I just want to close by expressing again how much I appreciate my colleagues, your time here, and I very much appreciate Congressman Stivers of Ohio. Let me yield the floor to General, now Congressman Stivers.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. It's great to be with you here today. Great to be with everybody. You know, the United States will probably never have the lowest wages in the world or the lowest number of regulations, but we can have the best ideas, and protecting those ideas is essential. Improving intellectual property protections will have a huge impact on our economy. And that's why I'm proud to reintroduce today with Bill Foster and with Tom McClintock and Nydia Velasquez, the Stronger Patents Act in the House. We have 15 co-sponsors. It is a bipartisan group with a huge ideological spectrum, which is a great thing to have. The United States is finally back at number 2 in many rankings on intellectual property protections, back up from number 12, based largely on the changes that the PTO has made in line with the Stronger Patents Act. But we can't let those regulations just stand the way they are and be subject to change in another administration. They need to be codified into law. The Stronger Patents Act would do that. It would provide greater parity and fairness in IP disputes at the PTAB. It would also return property rights through getting an injunction. That's going to help startups and individual investors who are today being out-resourced by a law that focuses more on how fast you can run to the courthouse and not how fast you can innovate. And we've got to fix that, and that's what the Stronger Patents Act does. I believe that Main Street should play just as big a part in innovation as Silicon Valley. And the next great idea might come out of Columbus, Ohio, just as much as it might come out of Palo Alto, California. So we can't let innovation be consolidated in just a few companies. That would be bad for America, bad for our economy, and bad for our future. Entrepreneurs need to know that the law provides them the security to stop infringement and protect their intellectual property. That's why it's so important to pass the Stronger Patents Act. We've been working hard on the House side. We're working to really build some momentum. We have more co-sponsors this year. We have new co-sponsors this year. I feel really good about that. I'm proud to be working with my colleague, Bill Foster, who was a scientist at the Fermi National Accelerator Lab and knows a thing or two about patents because he's filed patents. So I want to introduce my friend, Bill Foster.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and I'm Congressman Bill Foster. It's my honor to represent the 11th District of Illinois in the U.S. House. I'm also proud to join my House and Senate colleagues in introducing the Stronger Patents Act. I want to commend my bipartisan partners in this, Congressman McClintock, Congressman Stivers, and Congresswoman Velasquez. Innovation and entrepreneurship are deeply personal issues for me. When I was 19 years old, my brother and I started a company in our basement manufacturing microprocessor-based theater lighting control systems. And that company now manufactures over 1/2 of all theater lighting equipment in the United States, and we export about 1/3 of what we produce. It provides over 1,000 manufacturing jobs, good jobs with good pay and good benefits, and we've kept those jobs in the Midwest. But from our earliest days, our company was involved on both sides of patent disputes. So I understand the importance of balancing the rights of patent holders with the importance of limiting patent abuse and frivolous litigation. It is this background that influences my belief in the importance of strong and balanced patent systems to promote innovation and growth in the U.S. economy by creating jobs, providing benefits to the public. Our current patent system, however, has been weakened to the point that it discourages research and innovation rather than supporting it. In recent years, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce has downgraded our patent system from first to, at its nadir, the 12th, and now, fortunately, back to second place. Our IP-intensive industries are critical to the American economy. They make up 1/3 of U.S. GDP. It's around $5.5 trillion, and support 27 million jobs. This legislation will create a stronger patent system that will protect the rights of inventors and create a fairer environment for patent infringement cases. These changes to our patent system will benefit our inventors and entrepreneurs and spur economic growth. So thank you again to all of my colleagues for coming together to work on this important issue. And now it's my honor to introduce my old friend, Senator Hirono.
Thank you. Aloha. It's nice to follow somebody who actually holds patents. How many people in the room have, I know there are a few who hold patents, but I'm in awe of people who can come up with inventions that you can actually go to the patent office and patent. And I come to this as a layperson, of course, and what we want is to encourage innovation. We want to enable, especially the small entities, the entrepreneurs, the individuals, to be able to come up with innovations and things that will make people's lives better, and to be able to patent it, and to be able to protect their patents. Now, patent law is a very specialized area of the law, and basically, Chris Coons and I have been working on this bill, Chris more than me, because he actually has practiced patent law, this is like the third year that we're doing this, because when you make changes to the patent law, you really need to be very focused, otherwise it can be overly broad, and then you truly screw things up for everybody, so that's not what we want. And, going over the Constitution, pretty much my colleagues have already talked about what's in the Stronger Patents Act, but when I looked at the Constitution, the Constitution assigns Congress the responsibility to, quote, promote the progress of the useful arts, end quote. And I think we're way beyond the days of the plows being patentable. So in 1790, Congress fulfilled its responsibility by passing the first Patent Act. So it is our responsibility to create an environment where our people with great ideas can patent their ideas and not be challenged at every turn. So this act is centered around the simple idea, as I mentioned, that the inventor should be rewarded for her work with a limited period of exclusive use of her invention, because I use her purposefully because we need a lot more women who are getting patents. You know that there are not that many women who get patents, and that's a whole other story. But we need to create, as I say, an environment where everyone can pursue their inventions. And it's not easy, because I say to my staff all the time, how come we can't invent something? Look at the Post-its. My gosh, that was patented, right?
Must have been.
I think so. So, these wonderful ideas, and the least we can do is to provide an environment for more of that kind of creativity. And as you've heard from my colleagues, things have gotten very complicated, and it's not that easy to figure out what is patentable. And there have been court cases, there have been some confusion as a result of those cases, and the Stronger Act seeks to create a much clearer way forward in patent reform. And so as we go forward, of course, we're always open to input and other ideas, although we have worked on this for 3 years, people, so, this is about as good as it gets at this point. So thank you very much for being here, and I thank all my colleagues in the House and the Senate, and I especially want to thank Chris for his leadership in continuing to focus on the need to do this. And now, I'd like to introduce Todd McCracken. He's the president. Todd, where are you? President of the National Small Business Association. Todd?
Thank you very much, Senator. It's really my pleasure to be here today and to join with our support for this really significant pro-small business bill. I'm really grateful for the bipartisan, bicameral group of legislators that we have that have come together to promote this really important cause, because small companies around the country, as this audience surely knows, really are the heart and soul, the backbone of this, not just the economy, but the country. But the really key part of that small business community that drives the economy forward day after day are the innovators. And of course, the heart and soul of innovation is our intellectual property system, the patent system that we have in place, that has unfortunately been undermined the last few years, so that those innovators, those inventors that license their innovations to those small companies no longer have the same surety of their claims they had before. They're spending their time in court, they're spending their time worrying about whether their patent is viable, and it's lessen the amount of time they have to work on their innovations, to develop further innovations, and to develop their technology and patents into processes that can drive this economy forward. At the same time, it's made the investors in those companies worry and step back and think, well, should we invest in this company or not? Can we count on this patent being around in a few years if it's going to keep getting attacked by 1,000 cuts? So we think this bill if enacted, would put an end to those problems, create a patent system that would grow this economy enormously, support the small business community, both those innovators, but also those small companies that are unfairly attacked sometimes with patent demand letters. There's strong protections in this bill for those companies as well. So we're just really pleased to be here. We're excited to see this legislation move forward, and we'll do anything we can to promote it. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Sean Murphy, who was Vice President and Counsel of Dolby Laboratories.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to speak in support of the reintroduction of the bipartisan Stronger Patents Act in the House and the Senate today. Dolby is a member of the Innovation Alliance, which commends Senator Coons, Representative Stivers, and all the co-sponsors for their vision and leadership in reintroducing this important and much-needed legislation. The Stronger Patents Act embodies a number of critical changes to the status quo that will strengthen patent protections, promote American innovation, and enhance job creation. Importantly, it will restore the treatment of patent like any other property right and permit injunctions to protect patent owners from infringement. The legislation is needed to reverse the alarming decline in the U.S. patent system and our innovation economy in recent years, as others have discussed. After a decade of harmful actions and court decisions that have confused our patent laws, weakened American patent rights, harmed small inventors, and undermined U.S. innovation, now is the time to move forward with this important legislation. Meanwhile, as patent protections in the U.S. have been curtailed, as has been discussed, foreign competitors have strengthened their own patent systems. This has put the United States at a competitive disadvantage and led to venture capital investment and innovation increasingly moving overseas. The Stronger Patents Act will help to maintain our patent system's vital role as an engine of U.S. economic growth and job creation, as it has done for more than 200 years. And it's critically important to research and development intensive companies like Dolby that rely on strong patent rights to protect our inventions and ensure that we have the resources to continue to innovate and find that next technological breakthrough. So the Innovation Alliance urges the Senate and the House to pass the Stronger Patents Act as soon as possible. We're committed to working with members in both chambers on both sides of the aisle to make that a reality as soon as possible. Thank you. It's my pleasure to ask Jennifer Sebiak, Deputy Vice President for Federal Relations and Counsel for Policy at the Association of American Universities, to step forward.
So good evening. As I was preparing these remarks, I decided I would Google patent jokes. Unfortunately, every single one required me to click a button affirming that I'm over 18 because they contain profanity. So with my apologies, the remainder of my remarks will be serious. America's leading research universities engage in technology transfer to move their cutting-edge research discoveries into the commercial sector, where they're developed into products and processes that improve our quality of life and fuel our economy. The Association of American Universities is very grateful for the introduction of the Stronger Patents Act, which we expect will protect and promote the success of university technology transfer. And why is that? Well, university technology transfer requires a patent system that reassures universities' licensees that their investments in developing our early stage and often high risk innovations, that those investments will be fairly protected and appropriately rewarded. A common misconception is that academics use public funding to create new therapies or build novel technologies and then simply hand them off to companies that manufacture and monetize them. But university discoveries often don't, at least initially, provide clear and obvious paths to commercial translation. There are synergies between academia and industry that are necessary for new technologies to be realized for the benefit of society. For example, the pharmaceutical industry brings capacity and knowledge in areas like toxicology and drug formulation and delivery that aren't as well represented in academia. So the university-industry relationship and partnership is key to moving university innovations from the lab to the patient bedside. And without reliable and robust patent protections, industry will not, indeed cannot, assume the significant risk associated with licensing, investing in, and developing university inventions. And as a result, those inventions' potential to benefit society will lie dormant. And there will be no licensing returns for universities to reinvest, as they must under the terms of the Bayh-Dole Act, in yet more groundbreaking research. Strong patents are particularly critical, as some of my colleagues have mentioned, for the many small businesses and startup companies that are built upon university discoveries. In 2017 alone, university-based research led to the formation of over 1,000 startup companies, just to give you a sense of the scale. And patents are often the most important asset these startups and small businesses have. The Stronger Patents Act would help ensure a healthy and vigorous university technology transfer ecosystem because it aims to crack down on abuses of the patent system while simultaneously taking important steps to strengthen it. Senator Coons, Senator Cotton, Representative Stivers, and Representative Foster, thank you very much for your vision and leadership in this area. We look forward to continuing to work with you toward our shared goals of fortifying the patent system. Thank you. All right. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Tom DeLange, President of BIO's Advocacy Law and Public Policy Division.
Thanks, Jessica. Thank you all for coming. I do represent BIO, which is about 1,000 innovative biotechnology companies, mostly in the United States, but also around the world. We're really pleased and thankful for the work of the senators and the congressmen here today and their co-sponsors to introduce a Stronger Patents Act. It's critical for our industry. Biotechnology is one of the most innovative American industries. We lead the world. And right now, our investors and our entrepreneurs and our startups are really under assault on so many levels. But the foundation of what we do is the Patent Act, is the patent system, the reliability of our patent rights. So whether it's a new cure for a genetic defect or disorder, whether it's a new drought-resistant or disease-resistant crop for our nation's farmers, whether it's the next bio-based fuel or bio-based plastic that can help the sustainability of our planet, our entrepreneurs, our investors, our startup companies with private money are investing in these very high-risk, long-term innovations for America's future and for the future of the world. They can only do that if they know that there's some reliable certainty around the protecting their innovation through patents. If they can't do that, they will not invest, pure and simple. This act will go a long way towards righting the ship over the last 15 years, which has moved in the wrong direction in the courts, in the law, as you've already heard. So we're really optimistic that we can get this bill done, that Congress can act in a bipartisan fashion to improve our patent system for not just for biotechnology innovators, but for all innovators in America, and regain the U.S.'s #1 position in the world in terms of patent rights and innovation. So thank you very much for coming today. And it is my pleasure to introduce Charles Sauer, who's co-director of the Inventors Project.
Thank you.
So I'm Charlie Sauer. I'm the co-director of the Inventors Project and the president of the Market Institute. And it is my privilege to be here today as a part of the Stronger Patents Act introduction. This is something that is an amazing step in the right direction for the patent system. I want to talk a minute about how I got to this stage. I was raised by a single mother. She was a mom who had a hard time raising her son, as most single mothers do. She tried to figure out for herself how she was going to go from point A to point B and get me through school and raise me. And the way that she decided she was going to do that was by creating the next best mousetrap. She was going to make the next better invention. And she sat down and she figured out an idea. And she had that idea, that bright light, that bulb, and she took it from idea onto the shelves of Walmart. She took it from step 1 to step 10, 20, 30. She went through an amazing amount of steps to get there, but that is what helped get me to this point today. And the reason that I'm happy to be up here today is not because my mom invented it, it's because I now have 3 daughters. We'll get your hers out there. But I now have 3 daughters, and I want to teach them that they can get out there and invent, that they can make the next best mousetrap. I don't want to judge the inventions. I want the government to be there to protect them, and the Stronger Patents Act is the way to do it. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to bring small inventors to the table, and I'm excited to help take the next steps and help get this bill passed. Thank you.
Well, Senator Coons, I think, is trying to get back here, but I want to thank all of you for being here. This is a broad coalition that's working together on an extremely important issue. We look forward to working with you to get this bill signed into law all the way to the finish line so that we don't have to be here next Congress reintroducing it. Let's get it done. Let's help the American economy. Let's help the American worker. Let's make sure we protect our intellectual property and innovation and keep America the gold standard for patents. I guess it's restore America to the gold standard for patents. But thank you for being here. I hope you all have a great evening, and thank you very much.